Hello everyone, myself Prasad Pandit. I'm a part of CATIA global team building and civil infrastructure, and I will be having discussion with Christophe Segarra, and he is from Impararia Solutions. With his experience in this industry, we will be having lots of interesting talks today. So welcome Christophe.
Thank you, Prasad.
Thank you. And let's talk about your journey when you picked up CATIA and how you moved in the industry from your mechanical designing side of it and to the civil engineering side of it. So, how was your journey? Tell us about yourself.
I'm a French citizen, so I worked a little bit in France, but in 2010 I moved in Canada, and I was mechanical designer. Mm-hmm. I was using CATIA V5 during my jobs, but in 2017 it was a huge change. I moved in the construction industry at SNC-Lavalin, and since 2020 I joined Impararia Solution,
Wow.
which is a Dassault partner.
Yeah.
And so since 2017 I'm using 3D Experience CATIA, especially in the AUC industry.
So, since your journey coming from mechanical designing to civil engineering, how tough it was for you to move from the nomenclatures and the jargon which has been used in mechanical engineering, and now you are in civil engineering side of it. So how was the journey overall?
Honestly, it was tough at the beginning.
Okay.
It was a huge change, because when I was mechanical designer, I was just doing part design, assembly design, drawing. But in the civil industry, I discovered that I need to build, for example, an alignment, create a drawing for an alignment, a bridge parametric design. Was very tough to learn. At the beginning, it could be simple, but finally, in details, there is a lot of engineering rules to incorporate in the model, and we were trying to automate and create templates to build those, for example, a bridge. And I learned a lot during those times.
Interesting. So, since you are CATIA master for so many years, I mean, you have used in mechanical engineering, but when you moved to civil engineering side, people would have asked you to work on many other tools. But why you felt like using CATIA, since you knew it, or you wanted to pursue the same tool ahead, or it has some new things which others don't have? Why do you think CATIA you would like to use?
But the huge difference that is CATIA is incorporated in the platform.
Yeah.
That's the big change, because other software are standalone, and they are disconnected. But in the civil project, there is a lot of software used, but in the 3D Experience platform, we can combine and have a single source of truth. And I discovered that, and I was very happy to share the same model, share the same data, and have just one data and able to share it and to work together on the same model.
Wow. So it's all together and you can access everything on the platform. So that's probably the advantage you're saying here. So that's interesting. So when did you discover CATIA for the first time, and how was your challenge moving from any typical drafting tool or a CAD tool to move into CATIA as a tool to use it?
My main challenges was to learn automations, tools like how to make an UDF, how to make an engineering template, how to make an object type to use component-based design. And in parallel, learn the civil and buildings mechanical rules. When you are creating a model, there is a different aspect. In a building, you have to consider the stories, and you have to repeat some spaces along stories. In civil, you have a huge repeatability of components along an alignment, which is impacting. There is a lot of curvatures on the model, a lot of complex shapes to master, and that was those two kind of things that I have to take care.
Well, so what was the typical benefit when you moved into, because you have been talking more about the component-based design, which is CBD, which we call about. So would you like to talk about a bit on component-based design as a key differentiator, I would say, or a key feature in CATIA, especially for infrastructure projects, which you're working on tunnels, you're working on the bridges, you're working on the twin tunnel projects, and a lot of things. And those are really long and large and huge projects. And having those handled with the file system, I'm sure it would have been very difficult. But how do you see component-based design and key features of CATIA you would like to tell us to all the audience today?
Component-based design is a tool when it's a template, when you can encapsulate inside this template a different level of template for the BIM, because in the civil and building we are working mainly for BIM coordination. Each project is asking for BIM every time. So component-based design is able to, you can insert a low-level template like LOD 200, right, and you can combine also a template with more detail, which is LOD 400, for example.
Wow.
You can combine, you can add some icons, you can combine documentation on it.
Okay.
And what is powerful is that you can instantiate this template along a line, but what is very useful is to instantiate this template along an alignment. Over a road to create a bridge, a road, a tunnel. You can adapt this template to existing condition. You can adapt this template to the terrain. You can create all the complex shapes that you need to handle. And inside the template, you can have reinforcement. You can incorporate your drawing, so you don't need to create drawing
extra
for each instance of your model. That's very powerful.
Very interesting. So you mean to say, let's say we have 10 kilometers of project, you have 2 kilometers of tunnel, and let's say it's a railway project, and you have 3-4 kilometers of the track, and track you would like to keep it with LOD 200 or 300, and tunnel you would like to make it more detailed with LOD 400 or even 500, so you can build this together on the platform.
For example, you're talking about the tunnel. For a tunnel, it's done with a parametric ring.
Yes.
So it's the same ring. So we have some tools to create just one template, and we can adapt the rotation of each rings to follow the alignment trajectory.
Yeah, the curvature and everything.
And after that, you just have to create each template for the different subsystems. If you have a cross passage, if you have a drainage, and if you have the thing is, you have to define what is variable. You have to define the variability along your infrastructure.
Correct.
And what is different, you encapsulate that in a template. Maybe sometimes one template can create 10, 20, 30 configuration of one subsystem. And during instantiation, you can choose which configuration you want at each stationing that you want.
Wow.
So you
That's
have
powerful.
You have a lot of configuration. You can even manage your instantiation by a spreadsheet, and you can choose. You can have 1,000 instances with different configuration.
Fantastic.
And
so
you can manage that directly in a spreadsheet.
Yeah. So you're talking about the design automation overall, which is the key factor in CATIA, which you can automate the whole process and instantiate the whole designs rather than physically model them, right?
Yes.
Yeah, perfect, fantastic. So moving forward, as you talked about your favorite tool as component-based design, or any other favorite tool you have in CATIA to talk about?
Yes, in the last few years, thanks to the R&D, they developed the polyhedral modeler.
Yes.
Which allow us to combine terrain meshes with exact modelization. And before we were not able to combine them, and they created this this modeler. So now we can combine, we can create exact template interacting with terrain, and we can create exact shape of excavation, fillings, and have a very good modeling of the terrain. We can create also the subgrade below the railway or the road. So it's very exact and is pretty easy to use.
So, since you talked about the component-based design and polyhedral mesh, the whole terrain modeling, I know it's on the platform and you have huge files to be processed on the whole data, and then you have to share it with all the stakeholders, maybe your counterparts, your clients, your customers, your team members. So how was your experience during COVID-19 pandemic? Everybody's sitting at home, and how do you see working on the platform and designing on top of it? How was the experience overall?
But yeah, I use a lot the platform, the advantage of the platform. On the web interface, on each project, I'm making a dashboard where I have some tabs where I can communicate with my teammates using 3D Swim. We share files directly in the platform, and we are all sharing and making different tabs to illustrate the major steps of the project. So everybody can have access to this dashboard, and the data is already presented. So that's when you are doing a meeting. We are all everybody can have access very fast to the 3D mockup to check the different configuration and make comments. We can do live clash detection and make annotation.
I mean, for the people who use 3D Experience platform, and for the people who are actually new to this one, probably I would like to simplify and say a couple of words here. So what Christophe is saying is, for example, you are in a meeting and you would like to give access to your documents to everybody. It's very difficult and you have to keep sharing the files, but here you can create the dashboard and you can share with everybody, and along with the model, along with all the documents, along with everything together, including the clash detection. So this is something really interesting, Christophe, what you shared today. Thank you so much for sharing that. And a couple of questions more. Anything different you would like to do apart from using 3D Experience platform and CATIA together, but what you would like to do something differently in terms of using things in civil engineering, which are probably you got it from the mechanical designing point of view. I mean, how do you see the journey? Because you travel from mechanical design to civil design, and what you see things are missing in civil engineering or civil design.
Maybe, but you're asking me what is my dream.
That's right.
Maybe I wish to have someday a direct integration to bring some 3D model library on the web, and be able to import them in the platform.
Wow.
And to retrieve them in the marketplace. That
Wow.
could be
That's
very very amazing.
Yeah.
When we are designing very actually all the product, there is a lot of different products on the market.
Yeah.
And we have to insert them in the model. So that's going to be
interesting.
nice.
What do you think of RFLP, which probably would have been used in mechanical designing? So do you think that you're
Since 2020, I'm more working with MEP tools for nuclear plants, a residential MEP shaft, and I'm using now the RFLP approach, especially for industrial buildings. I'm able to connect the logical diagram with the physical product, with the 3D model. I'm able to instantiate some components from the logical inside the 3D. I'm dealing with also the space. We can have the value is we have a continuity, a digital continuity between the logical diagram, the 3D model, and the deliverables. So the drawings, detailed drawings, assembly drawings.
Wow, that's interesting. So you have the full traceability in civil engineering, right from the specifications, from the model to the purchase, and having that RFLP system engineering approach, which has been not used in civil engineering so far. So that's a great insight. Okay, so the last question is, what is so different you would like to talk about, or something else you would like to talk about 3D Experience Platform and CATIA together? Because it's the cloud environment, people have been using the on-premise, and how do you see that journey for yourself as well as for the people who are now moving from the on-premise to cloud? So how do you see that? What do you want to talk about?
I can talk about both, because before I was on premise, and since 2020 I jumped on the cloud, and I don't want to go back on premise, honestly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because the major advantage for me is that I'm always up to date, and the EAC industry, R&D is on each delivery and fixed delivery, there is always new functionalities, new commands. So we need to be up to date, and it's autonomous. I can do it myself at home because of the COVID. So that's very interesting.
And no investment on hardware, definitely. So
so you don't have to bother IT teams.
Too much about it.
It's very autonomous.
Thank you so much, Christophe, for being here today with us and sharing your thoughts. And that's a very great insight, what you talked about, RFLP, component-based design, and CATIA on 3D Experience Platform. So this is something really, the whole world is looking at.
Thank you, Prasan.